Hello and welcome to Kevin's Corner TV. Today my guest is R.L. Dunn, author of 2 books. She's had an amazing career and I am delighted to have her with me today. She started off in advanced emergency medical technician and actually once delivered a baby in a supermarket. I'm going to be sure to ask her about that. Her career in the health field was monumental. She became the first certified instructor of Long Island and then became the first deputy instructor of the state of New York for EMS technicians. Unfortunately, she was forced to give up her career after an illness made it impossible to perform her roles. This meant she had to find something else to fill her days, and that brings us to her amazing career number 2, becoming an author. And this is from her website. Having always had a love for writing, Robin returned to creating stories, first as her post-stroke therapy and coping with the loss of her beloved career, and now as a way of life. She is the author of Blood Obsession, written at a time when she was given little chance for survival after her initial stroke, and most recently, Secure Desire. Thank you for being here with me. I appreciate your time. I love your EMS career. That was your last previous career junction. So let's start with that first a little bit. And certainly the whole bringing someone's life into the world in a supermarket. What was that about?
Yeah, that was a really great thing because I wasn't even in my EMS mode at the time.
Oh, okay.
I was, when I delivered that little life, I was supermarket shopping for around Thanksgiving. And I had, at the time, my son Charlie was 5 months old with me. And we were in the supermarket and I heard the telltale scream that only another woman who's had a child recognizes.
Oh, okay.
And this young girl had literally laid herself out on the floor in the frozen food aisle of ShopRite in Bohemia. And there we were. There wasn't much to do. And the Suffolk County system at the time was solely volunteer. Now it's augmented a little bit by North Shore Hospital. But at the time, it was solely volunteer, and it was in the middle of the day, which is the worst possible time to need an ambulance because there are a low amount of people available. So the Suffolk County police officer arrives, and the first words out of his mouth is, the ambulance, the Bohemia people can't get out. We're mutually aiding it. So that told me I had, no help coming. So I handed the police officer my son, Charlie, and I had one of the ShopRite kids get me some rubber gloves, and we were off to the races.
Wow. So, wow, right there.
And she just delivered as the ambulance rolled in, and I was like, okay, guys, it's all yours now. And they let me go to the ladies' room, and I washed my hands, and then me and my son finished our supermarket shopping.
Wow. And when was that?
1990, November 1990.
Wow, okay. Wow, congrats.
A long time ago.
Yeah. So the EMS career and the health career, tell me a little bit about that. You have some huge milestones with regard to that.
When I became a student, when I became an EMT, I always had this overwhelming feeling that this could be better. And my bachelor's degree was in biological sciences. And so I asked, can I be an assistant lab instructor and just help out? So I started volunteering to help out in the classes because I was pretty good at it. And then to become, they call a certified lab instructor. And then I hit the glass wall, because women just aren't lead instructors. You know, it was 1988, 89, and it was just no, 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 no. And so finally, I threw a bit of a hissy fit and called some of my old instructors and went to the head of Suffolk EMS and said, look, I have the credentials. I want the opportunity. And they're like, okay, we'll give you the class, but now you need to find somebody who'll let you do an internship. So again, another barrier. And my two wonderful advanced emergency technician instructors, Craig Stadelman and John de Blasio, were the greatest, and they let me do my internship with them. And then I became one of two at the time female certified instructor coordinators on Long Island. Wow. And so then I started to teach for Suffolk, and I taught for Suffolk EMS till 1994. And I had my daughter Molly, and so I had a delay in my recertification, because she was born a week after I was supposed to take my recertification test. So I had to switch it, and I went into Nassau County, and I was taking my test, and the proctor of the exam said, you know, you're a certified instructor coordinator, aren't you? I said, yeah. And she introduced me to the head of the Nassau County EMS Academy, who at the time was under, because they were a state and county organization, under pressure to hire more women. And so I was hired as supposedly a substitute. And then my boss, Frank Chester at the time, watched me teach, and he was like, nope, she's getting her own class. And I was off to the races. And I taught for them for a few years. And then they promoted me to first deputy chief instructor, where I was in the classroom a little bit, but then I became in charge of curriculum and so forth. And then they posted me to New York State to be state faculty, where I could go in and monitor any other teaching situation.
Wow.
So, you know, that was the culmination, and I was loving every minute of it. And then health struck. And
yeah, now you're very open about that, which I appreciate. How long were you with the EMS career before the illness struck?
From 1989 to 2012.
Okay.
So,
and then what happened there?
I had a stroke, and I got very sick. And then I had some heart issues. They found a tumor on my adrenal gland. And through the whole process, they finally discovered that I had lupus.
Oh, wow.
And I tried to go back to work in a little bit, and I had the second stroke. And at
now, where were these strokes happening? Were they on the job, or?
They were happening in the house, just walking around, thank God. You know, and it was really weird, because I knew something was wrong, but I didn't know what was wrong. You know, I felt just off, and my right side was going numb, and I wasn't able to think clearly. And it was just because the strokes that I had were caused by small blood clots produced by the lupus. And it all happened in the front part of my brain. So that's the thinking and using your hands and the head to fingers. So something was really wrong. And I mean, obviously, and then I got very ill. So I was in the hospital. And basically, you know, my husband and my doctor said, you know, do you want to work, or do you want to have family? And that choice was easy.
Right.
You know, I wanted family. And then the occupational therapist, because part of it was I couldn't, I'd think the word, I could say the word, but I couldn't get the word to come out through my fingers, like typing or coordinating something on a computer screen. And, at first the stroke therapy is pretty routine, to get your fingers to use a tweezer, pick up a safety pin and put it in a glass. And my occupational therapist, Eileen Murphy, who is an absolutely amazing human being, said, crap, no good, not for you. It's boring. So she said, right, think about stuff. And so I started to type anything that I could think of. I originally got the voice recognition software. And so I would wear my little headset and I would dictate. And then I got frustrated because Dragon doesn't pick up a New York accent.
And what year was this that you started all that?
2012.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So it took about a year where I could consistently start to write. And at first I got horrendous headaches. And I still do sometimes, but now I know I just stop. Because the brain just doesn't want to, it's like you feel like an engine not turning over in your head. You could feel it there, but it just doesn't want to come through. And so I started to write just anything. I started to journal how I was feeling, how angry I was, which also helped the recovery from losing my career. And then I said, you know what? I cannot watch another episode of Law and Order or NCIS or another talk show or another infomercial. I've got to do something. And lo and behold, I started to write. So I was very, very sick, and they were in 2014, basically, they told my husband and I to make arrangements because I was really sick. So I'm laying in the hospital, and in 1985, my girlfriend and I wrote a book, which is the outline of Blood Obsession. And we wrote the book together, and it was on, believe it or not, word processing paper.
Right.
And thank God for scanners and word recognition. So I scanned the entire 500 pages into the computer. And while I was sitting in the hospital, because hospital TVs are even worse than home TV, I started to work on it. And I was in the hospital for a month and a half because I had contracted meningitis from the medication I was taking. It lowers your immune system so horrendously that the bug hit. So I was hospital bound. And the first 2 weeks I couldn't open my eyes, but then the rest of the time it was pretty much, I was stuck for the treatment. And I started to write, and I started to rework the book.
Wow.
And that's how Blood Obsession came out.
Yeah. What was your inspiration for that? Because that's a interesting topic.
It was Blood Obsession. It was funny because in those times you didn't have Google Earth. You didn't have, so my girlfriend Paula and I, and sadly she's now gone, we drove around New York City. And at the time it was the height of the crack epidemic. There was all sorts of horrible crime going on in New York City. And so originally we decided to write it's going to be a crime procedural. And then both of us grew up around horses. So we decided to make our female character a horsey person. And we were unsocialites, but the character became one. And then the male lead in the book, became the good blue collar, hardworking Brooklyn cop. And we started there, and then we let our imaginations just go. And we'd sit and we'd talk, and I'd type a page, she'd type a page. I still laugh that, it was all done through a word processor.
Yeah.
My kids have no idea what a typewritten page like that, and I told them, for like college papers, you had to type, and if you had a mistake, you had to retype. It was just the most horrendous thing. And so that's how it became. And it was written in, we wrote it in the mid 80s. So now I'm in 2000. I had to update the technology a little bit. I gave the characters cell phones, had to rework the scenes, cigarette smoking and the nanny police in the city. So my cops still smoke because they just do, because cops still smoke.
Right.
But, you can only smoke in they would cheat and smoke in the office because nobody else was coming into the office. But I had to modernize some of the stuff.
Right.
There was no Uber, and there was no, when I wrote it. So I brought it up in modern era, and reworked it and published.
Awesome. Wow. Great feeling, right?
Oh, it was wonderful. It was like, I was so happy. And it was a bucket list thing because I promised her, she had passed away in 1988. I promised her that I would get it published.
Oh, wow.
That was her bucket list. And so here I am laying in the hospital. They're telling me I'm not going to make it. I'm like, oh, I have to do this. So, because if it's not my bucket list, it's her bucket list. And I promised, and I have to keep my promises. And so that was that. And then lo and behold, contrary to what they said, I'm still here.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I didn't know that backstory at all. That's awesome. Yeah. Wow.
So then I started to write Secure Desire. And because I said, okay, now put your money where your mouth is, because you're still here and you like writing and it's keeping you busy and it's keeping you occupied and making me feel part of the world again, because there's been, there were so many losses. I'm not allowed to drive anymore. In the winter months, I'm pretty much housebound because I can't go near sick people. All sorts of things like that caused by the medication. And another side effect of the medication is the steroids make you a little juiced, so to speak. So I'm up, I fall asleep, I wake up in the middle of the night, and I would write in the middle of the night. I would start writing from 1 to 4 in the morning. And I started to write, and then the story came together, and then I looked at it again, and I could tell, oh, I wasn't feeling good this day because this is garbage, and I throw that page out, and so much easier on a computer.
Right, delete it,
or actually probably I was chicken to delete anything, so I have files upon files hidden in my documents of bad rewrites, versions, 400 versions of the same thing. And I'm a hoarder of my notes, I guess.
That's good. And,
I started to write Secure Desire. Excellent. And it just, it came out. It was officially published in August, but it officially hit the market in September.
Oh, wow. Okay. Very recent. Very good.
Yeah, very recently.
Wow. Now, with your characters, I see that your characters are very developed and all that stuff, which is actually a key to writing. How do you do that, and how do you find that process?
First, what I do is I decide what I need in a character. So in Secure Desire, my lead male is, his name is Ian Chase. And he and his brother run this large security company. And that I basically took from modern times, because as we're seeing now in Afghanistan and Iraq, we have tons of private contractors who are out there who are doing the job that some of our military used to do, just because our military is spread so thin. So once I found the character, and then I picked attributes that the book is geared, it can be easily enjoyed by a man and a woman because it's a suspense drama, but the market for romantic suspense is usually a female audience. So I had to make him appealing for women. So I chose that. And then I started to do some heavy duty research. I started to reach out to people and say, what kind of type of guy does this? I have a nephew who is in Army intelligence, so he was able to provide some background. I reached out to various military websites, and I actually tacked into guys and, real legitimate people who that I could prove so, and I asked them questions. So I did background research for locations. God bless Google Earth. You can literally almost see into a window which saved a lot of trouble because this book is set in the Virginia, Washington, D.C. Beltway area. So I needed, eyes because I wasn't there. Mm-hmm. It wasn't home turf for me. And so I started to develop from there. And then my female character, I wanted her to be a strong woman, but missing something in her life. He was missing something in his life, and, created this recognition. And the group of security providers has now set the background for a future piece of the entire series, because it's going to be a series of books based on each character is going to kind of get their own story.
Oh, very cool.
As time goes on. So I had to give the characters meat, even though the characters in the first book, some of them were not as fully developed. They'll be more developed in each book, and they carry through. Each book is a standalone book. You can read each book independently, but it helps if you know who everybody is. That's where that came.
Very nice. Very nice.
So that was the great thing that, yeah.
So let's talk about your writing process. You said that you like to sometimes wake up late at night and do your writing, and do you set aside a certain amount of time?
I try to set aside time, but that doesn't sometimes work. Usually, though, I do get a final little piece of time because, like I said, the medication, I'll get into bed ready to go to sleep and the eyes pop open and I'm wide awake. So I do a lot of my writing in the evenings because there's no interruptions. I don't hear the dog. I don't, it's very peaceful. Nobody's asking a question. Nobody's interrupting the train of thought. Mm-hmm. My kids laugh because sometimes they'll hear me reading the dialogue out loud and they think I'm talking to people. But I try to make the dialogue realistic. And sometimes you really have to hear the words that people are saying because it looks good on paper, and then you say it and go, oh, nobody would say it like that.
Right, right. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
So that's kind of when I do. And some days it goes for a couple of days where I'm not feeling well and my head hurts and I just can't write. Mm-hmm. And then I'll spend time, because part of publishing and having a book is also interacting with readers, marketing, keeping the website up to date, blogging. And so that takes time away from the writing process because you want to build a readership. So it's kind of like a twofold process. The writing piece is the easier part.
Right.
It's the perpetual, okay, let's post on Facebook, let's post on Instagram.
So 2 books under your belts. That's fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you. Third book just went to the editor.
Oh, yeah? Okay. That's what I was going to ask. What's in the works now? So a third one is already gone.
Third book is at the editor, which is going to be Secure Return, which is a continuation from Secure Desire. And I am in the process of writing Secure Heart, which is the third book in the series.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. So
what happened was, what's the nice thing is I love my characters, they're almost real to me. So it's now easy to tell their stories.
Nice. So it's like visiting with friends and stuff, they say, right? And
yeah, it is. It really is.
And you want to continue to develop them so that you're with them all the time. Good.
Yes. Like I said, it's fulfilling brain power wise, keeps the going and, keeps my mind active when the body isn't so active anymore.
Exactly. That's great. Very good. So now where can people find you and find the books and all that information?
They can find the books on my website at www.rldunnauthor.com. Okay. And the website will guide you to Amazon, to Barnes & Noble, to Lulu, to Kobo. It's available pretty much on all the major booksellers.
Excellent.
And it's available from what I know in Glen Cove Library too.
Oh yeah. Okay. Good. Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Excellent. All right. Well, this was perfect. Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate your time.